I sway, if I'm somebody who sways, in the early stages of my backswing, the first thing I'm going to do is obviously bump laterally. If it happens too severe, I'm going to push this chair way off, and in fact I'm lifting the feet, obviously, because I'm swaying so much, right? So you want something light that you can move, but obviously something that's sturdy enough that you'll feel it. I've seen people put alignment sticks in the way. Sometimes you can't even feel the alignment sticks. So obviously the chair is a little bit sturdier, it's a little bit more dense. You'll feel that contact point pretty quickly. So we're gonna set up to the ball, and then the first thing we want to do is we want to create rotation now, where in theory, if I do this well, my hip should actually be moving somewhat away from the chair. I'm not saying you have to do this when the chair is not there to like keep all of your weight on your front side and almost feel like your pelvis is getting closer to the target, but you will need to feel that in theory to get rid of any sort of lateral component you're adding in your backswing. And don't get me wrong, some small amount of lateral is a good thing. Like there's a lot of really high-end players, right? You'll see this a lot on tour as well. If I get rid of the chair for a second, where you'll actually see almost like an early pressure shift into that trail side, and it adds just a subtle bump to the right for a righty, and then they load, but they're still relatively centered with their pelvis even after the rotational component is added in. If I'm somebody who just sways and doesn't really turn, number one, the lateral typically will get too extreme. Now I'm going to start to compensate for it, and my upper body is going to lean towards the target to keep me balanced out, and then obviously we'll see a limitation in how much the golfer's turning their hips. All these things kind of fall in line with what I see with your pattern. So having the chair here, obviously it's going to feel very extreme early on in this process. It's not going to be extreme forever, but we do want to limit that lateral, so it's got to feel like we're doing very little of it. So having a chair here, you start actually with your leg connected to the chair, and then we actually create a little bit of space in our backswing. So this is giving us very much the sensation like I'm actually moving almost away from the chair in the backswing. I'm almost going to feel like my pelvis is actually recentering a little bit closer to the target. So a lot of drills in your house you can do in front of the mirror with this sensation, if you're somebody obviously who sways and then gets a little bit like this, where we just create a little bit of distance between our hip and our chair. And if we want to make sure we're still loading correctly, even though we're creating some distance with the pelvis to the chair, you could still feel like most of your pressure and your weight are on the inside of this back foot. So I'm not doing it where I'm leaning my weight forward, right? Even though I'm moving my pelvis a little bit away from the chair, I'm still very much unweighted on this front leg. Most of my weight is still feeling like it's shifting to the trail side to some degree, and obviously it's going to recenter after that. So this is a really good exercise you could do. It's very basic. It provides some really good feedback for you, and obviously that can be helpful.